Hey there, it's Larry Holsey. It's the Larry Holsey podcast. Listen, excited to talk to you today. I want to talk to you about setting goals and how to have your best year ever next year. Okay. So before I do that, listen, I would love it if you could give us a follow on wherever you get your podcasts, whether that's, Spotify or Apple Podcasts or YouTube, wherever it is. Give us a like, give us a subscribe. It'd really help us out if you find value here in the information that we're sharing with you. So I want to talk to you about setting goals and a very simple process to set goals, okay? So one of my mentors, Jim Rohn, he would always teach us, he'd be like, this is the simplest goal setting exercise is to, number one, decide what you want, and number two, write it down, okay? And that really is one of the simplest goal setting plans is to decide what you want. Now, what do most people do whenever you start talking to them about, hey, what do you want? Well, the mind, unfortunately, of most people is trained in a negative way, okay? So they tend to tell you things that they don't want. So if you ask someone, hey, what do you want? The typical answer in many cases, and all the people that I've worked with over the years, over my 29 years in business of working with people, setting goals, helping them achieve, better financial health, better, physical health. What I found is that almost everybody goes to the negative first, and they go to, hey, well, I don't want to be poor, or I don't want to be overweight, or I don't want to be sick, or I don't want to be unhappy, or whatever. They go to the I don't want to be, okay? Now, the challenge with that is that whatever you focus on in your life, that's what you're going to get, okay? So whatever the dominant focus is in your life, you're going to attract that. So if you focus on, hey, I don't want to be poor, well, the dominant thought there is poor. The dominant thought is lack. Okay, I don't want to be unhealthy, or I don't want to be overweight. The dominant thought there is overweight. So what you want to do is you've got to flip that and really put it on what you want. I want to be prosperous. I want to be financially free. I want to be, I want to weigh 175 pounds with 10% body fat, or whatever the case is. Okay, so I'm going to give you a little bit of a more specific formula of what you can use that's really helped. Let's see here. Let me just cut this off. I got something coming up. I'm going to put my phone on, or my computer on do not disturb so it doesn't mess with us while we're on here. So I want to give you a little bit of a formula that we've used to set goals with people that's really been helpful, okay? So it's something called SMART goals, okay? And you may have heard this acronym before, but it's always good to have a reminder. Most of success is not really learning new things. It's doing the things that we already know. It's executing the things that we already know to do, right? And that's the challenge that most people have. And the reason I like to stay around events and masterminds and trainings and books and personal development material is to really be reminded of the things that I should be doing already. Okay, the things that I already should have executed. In fact, I've gotten to where I read less new books in my older years here. I'm 48 years old now, and I found I keep going back to the same books and really working on implementation, working on, man, am I applying that to my life? Am I really doing something with that? Or am I just stuffing in new information and not really taking action on it? Okay, so really, really important, I think. All right. So let's talk about this. SMART goals, okay? SMART, what does it stand for, okay? It's an acronym. So the first thing is the S in SMART stands for specific, okay? So specific, your goals need to be specific. So that means that you need the more specificity, the more clarity you can give your brain when it's dealing with a goal or a target, the more likely you are to achieve it, okay? Because the more clear and the more real you can make that imagined result, the more power your subconscious mind has to draw you towards that outcome, okay? So specific, meaning you can say, hey, you could say, well, first of all, you don't want to say what you don't want. So if you're like, hey, here's what I do want. Okay, I want to be rich, okay? Okay, well, that's not very specific. What is that? Here's a good question. So if you say, hey, I want to be rich, or let's say I don't want to be poor, we're like, okay, well, let's take the flip of that because we don't want to attract poor. So you want to be rich or you want to be prosperous. Okay, so let's say you want to be prosperous. So what does that mean to you? So for you to feel prosperous, what has to happen? So this is a good question to ask yourself. Hey, Larry, so for me to feel prosperous, what has to happen? Okay, and then think about that. And then say, well, I need to have enough money in the bank to pay all my bills. Okay, so how much are your bills? And guys, if you'll kind of think on paper and think through these questions with yourself on paper and have a conversation with yourself on paper, I found that to be very helpful in kind of crystallizing my thoughts, crystallizing my the things that are in my mind. And when I get them on paper, it's a lot easier for me to deal with them, and it makes it more it just is better. Okay. So anyway, all right. So specific. So you want to get as much specificity as possible. So let's say you want to be prosperous, and maybe that means $10,000 a month for you. Maybe that means, I don't know what it means to you. Maybe it's $1 million a year. Maybe it's whatever it is. Okay. So you need to determine what is that number? What is that specific goal that you have in mind? Okay. And be as specific as possible. If it's a car, you want to know the color of the car. You want to know what it smells like on the inside. You want to know what the interior color looks like. You want to know what the radio sounds like. You want to know the stereo system. You want to know everything about that car. Is it fast? Is it corner well? You want to imagine every detail you can about that car, because that specificity is going to give your subconscious mind the power to attract those things into your life. Okay? All right. So second thing is you want the goal to be measurable. All right. So it needs to be measurable, or it needs to be quantifiable, where you can pinpoint when that goal happened. Okay. You can pinpoint, am I on track towards that goal or am I off track? So it doesn't need to be a goal that is, it just needs to have something that can be measured. And that's what's so great about money is, money isn't everything, right? Money isn't everything until you don't have enough of it, and then it becomes everything. But when you have a money goal, it's great because you can count it. Okay. And the great thing about money is that it's countable. You can count it. So hey, am I doing a good job or am I not doing a good job in the area of money? Now, is money everything? No. Like I said, no. But I look at it as a scoreboard to how well you're doing in the financial arena. And really, most businesses are businesses that are in service of others. Okay, so our business is is completely attached to the number of people that we serve in the area of their health and in the area of their growing their financial life. Okay, so we get paid based on the value we bring to the marketplace. In fact, all of us, you and me, we both get paid based on the value we bring to the marketplace. So if you're not getting paid much money, it's because you're not bringing much value to the marketplace. If you will bring more value, you'll get paid more. Okay. So in our business, it's directly related to how many people we're helping. Okay. So if I want to get real measurable with my goal and put a specific dollar figure on it, that's also going to tie back to a specific number of people that we've helped with our business. Okay. So all right, so that would be number 2 is measurable. So number 1 was specific. You want to get as specific as possible. And number 2, I'm always drinking out of my red Solo cup here. It's not beer. It's not like Toby Keith, like I'm partying over here. But anyway, all right, so measurable would be number 2, okay? So, all right, so let's look. Next thing, so in the SMART acronym, the A would be for achievable. Okay, so it needs to be an achievable goal. It needs to be a goal that, now, this doesn't really go for, as far as the vision of my life, like the definite major purpose we've talked about in the past, and the vision of my life, that can be something so crazy, the dream lifestyle, it can be so far-fetched that I don't know how I'm ever going to achieve that. I don't need to know how I'm going to achieve that far-fetched goal, those big dreams and goals. And the vision for my life, that needs to be big. That needs to be ridiculous. That needs to be ludicrous, crazy, okay? Because that dream will draw you towards it. And it's got to be something that gets you excited. Okay, but when it comes to your goals, like your weekly goals, your monthly goals, annual goals, it needs to be something that's achievable, something that's reasonably uh, uh, likely to happen if you put in the work and you put in the right effort. Okay, and it can be a little beyond that. It doesn't need to be like a realistic goal, because realism, people who are realistic are typically broke. Okay, so you do need to be a visionary in your goals, but it just needs to be something that's actually achievable. Okay, so if you wanted to get in business and you want to make some crazy amount that's just completely unrealistic your first month, there is a timing to everything that you have to work with, right? So anyway, so you want it to be achievable. All right, number 4 is you want it to be relevant. Okay, so you want it to be relevant to your overall mission in your life. Okay, so the goal needs to match what it is that you're going for. So I'm always thinking, one of the things that's really helped me in my journey, in my success journey, is when I look at any action or any decision, and I'm thinking about, well, I want to go here. Okay, I want to go to this. I want to go to this end result in my life. Okay, every decision I'm looking at, hey, does this decision take me closer to or farther from that goal? Okay, for example, in our business, it's very important that our team attends our events. Okay, because our events keep them up to speed on the most cutting edge techniques and strategies that are working in the marketplace today. It's also going to those events are going to keep them inspired and seeing others that are getting results. So it's going to keep them motivated, and it keeps them close to the fire. So it keeps them in relationship with other people that are going the same direction as them. Okay. So this is really, really important because it's just really important for them. All right. So if someone on my team decides not to go to an event, then that's a decision to take a step away from their goal, if their goal is growth in this business. Okay. Same with me. I'd be like, if I'm not going to that event, then I'm taking a step away from, like, my goal is over here and I'm taking this step in this direction. Why would I do that? Okay. First of all, I need to know where I'm going and what I'm going for. So if I know that, and then I consciously take this decision to step over here, well, that's just dumb. Okay. That's just not smart at all. Okay. So sometimes that happens out of just carelessness, or not thinking, or not understanding the consequences of actions. But every action has a reaction. Okay. Every action has a consequence. Okay. So I want to remember that. All right. So relevant. All right. 5th thing when setting SMART goals is it needs to be time bound. Okay. Meaning it needs to have a time limit on the goal. So a goal without a deadline is just a wish. Okay. A goal without a deadline is just a wish. So if you want it to be a real goal, first of all, it needs to be written down. Second of all, is it needs to have a deadline, because if it doesn't have a deadline, it's not going to have any urgency. And if there's no urgency, desire loses its value. You're not going to have the value of desire without the urgency to get it done by a specific time. Okay. So to recap, okay, let's look at it. SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. These are all the super important points that you want to make sure that your goals represent. And guys, this year could be your best year ever. We've got new administration coming in. It's going to be the golden age of America. This is going to be the time. If you don't score in the next 4 years in America, I'm telling you, there just might not be a time that you're going to score. This is the time for you to buckle down and get something out of the growth that's coming. Go make it happen. Let's have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon. Oh, and again, give us a follow, give us a like, subscribe to our channel, whether that be on YouTube or anywhere you get your podcasts, and we'll talk to you soon.